Hello and welcome to this fourth episode of Checkmate Puzzles. Alright, so this first puzzle, the queen was in the center and moved here to queen to c7 to help defend the king. So what can we do here to keep up the pressure? How can we checkmate this king? So here I invite you to follow along, try to solve the puzzles with me. At any time, pause the video if you need more time to think. If not, I think I found the answer. So let's take a look. Well, it looks like queen up here to a8. We'll check the king. The queen will be protected by the bishop, and that should be a mate, as the king can't escape. All right, I'll try and do 20 problems, which is what I usually do in this. So let's keep moving on to the second problem. The rook has just moved here, fighting for control of this open G file. So what can white do here? Take a look, see if you can figure this out. What would you do? And remember, regular tactics study every day will definitely help improve your chess, because almost everybody can improve their tactics. Even chess masters study tactics to constantly try and improve or just brush up on their skills. All right, pause the video if you need more time. If not, I think I found this one. So it looks like we're going to start with a knight check, and then the king will be forced to move up into the corner, and then our rook will be able to capture his rook with a mate here. So check and mate. So a nice little checkmate in the corner with knight and rook. On to the next problem. All right, let's see, knight to d2. And what does that do? Well, just maybe helps get closer to the center, developing this knight. So the first thing you want to do when you're trying to solve a checkmate problem, and also as you're playing, always look for checks, that can cause you problems. So do I even see a check here? All right, I think I found it. Hopefully you did too. So the only way to check really is with the queen. So of course you don't want to go here, you'll be captured, here you'll be captured, here you'll be captured. But hopefully you found this other move right here. So queen to b6 delivers the mate, as there's no way for the king to run, capture the queen, or block. All right, on to the next one. The king was in check and captured a pawn here. So how do we continue? All right, well, hopefully you found this problem. If not, pause. So the king is trapped here on the edge by this knight and the pawn. The only escape is here to b3, but it looks like our bishop will be able to deliver a check and mate. So checkmate. The bishop can't be captured. There's no way to block, and there's no way for the king to run because of the knight, pawn, and bishop. All right, on to the next one. What do we have here? So it looks like this pawn is just pushed forward, taking away an escape square possibly for the knight. So what can we do here to try and deliver a mate? All right, this one might be a little more tricky, but I think you can find it. So, pause if you need more time. If not, let's take a look at this. So, it looks like there's not a direct check on the king immediately. So we have to set up a check. So it appears that we will have to set up a check. We could drop this knight back here to f7, cutting off this escape square. If this pawn tries to push forward, that won't make a difference anyway, because our rook will come up here, delivering the check and mate. So knight, and then we have a mate there. Once again, rook and knight work together to corner this king. Okay, on to the next problem. Looks like we've completed 5 already. So the rook just moves up here, maybe helping guard this pawn, keeping the knight from delivering a check over here. So what should we do? Okay. Well, let's see. We have to look for checks. So what pieces can check? Of course, we don't want to check with our queen and capture the pawn, or the queen will just be captured. So most likely this knight is important here. So what can we do here? And we have a queen check. So there's a queen check possibility here. And I think that will work because our knight is cutting off this escape square. All right, so queen to d8 check. If the queen blocks, we just capture, and then that should be mate because this knight is cutting off any escape. All right, so another mate, this time with knight and queen. All right, I hope you found that. Moving on to the next one. The queen had just checked the king, and the king runs here to try and escape. But things do not look good for this king. So how do you think we should follow this up? And we need to checkmate in a hurry because it looks like these two queens are ready to pounce on our king. All right, well, hopefully you found the answer to this problem. And I'm thinking right here, queen to f8, delivering a mate because there's no way to block or capture the queen, and the king can't run because of this pawn here. So mate, and there you have it. The queen cuts off any escape along with the bishop and delivers the mate. All right, on to problem number 8. So here we just had a pawn move. So let's see. How can we get at this king here? So the king is kind of piling up on our king along with a rook and a bishop. So how do we get at the king first? Well, looks like it's going to be, well, we don't want to use our rook, for a check because the bishop will just capture. So it looks like once again, one of the knights is going to have to do the work here. So if we notice, the rook is cutting off any escape along the e file. The pawn is helping cover this f4 square. So knight to e5 delivers the check and cuts off this escape. So knight to e5, checkmate. All right, on to the next one. We have a rook attacking our bishop, but our opponent's king is kind of stuck here in d3, or on d3. Our king is preventing black's king from moving forward. The bishop, along with the rook, is cutting off these squares here. So how do we deliver the mate? So what checks do we have? Well, if the rook tried to check on d5, the king could escape here. So the better move would be right here, or the king could capture that pawn. So if the rook moves here to c3, it protects the pawn, checks the king, So here we go. Checkmate. All right, hope you found that one. Let's move on to number 10 and we'll be halfway done. All right, we just had castling to the queen side. Now, what do we have swarming around the white king? We have this bishop cutting off these squares, and we have a knight ready to jump in with check. Now, we could go here and check, but then the bishop would just capture us. So, it looks like we would have to go knight to a2 to deliver the check and mate, because the bishop will cut off these escape squares. All right, there we go, a mate in 1. All right, I hope you found that one. And here it shows the puzzle rating. Now, I don't know if these ratings are specifically, at this rating level, possibly. But some of these puzzles on chess.com show like very high ratings. So I don't know if that's a literal ELO rating. It may be close. So let's move. And I have it set at 500 to 1500. And as I go through this puzzle, this series of Checkmate puzzle videos, I'll slowly increase the rating. Right now it's set at 500 to 1500. All right, so on to the next one. Problem number 11. Okay, the king was in check. Instead of running to safety in the corner, the king has moved out towards the center. So, is this going to cause problems? All right, how can we get at this king? All right, well, hopefully you found this problem. Pause the video if you need more time to think. But the mistake was moving into the center with the king, and it allows queen to e7 mate. So a mate in 1 there. Another 500 rated problem. So hopefully it'll throw some more difficult ones in here. Let's go on to the next one. Okay, the rook has just moved to the 7th rank with the queen, creating this battery. Maybe getting ready to bring the other one down at some point and just smash through to our king. But it's black's move first. What can we do? It's white's move first. What can we do here? All right, take a look at this. Pause the video if you need more time to think about it. So first, I would say look for all the checks. We could go here. They would capture. We would capture. And then the king would escape to here. Then if we try to check with the queen, there could be a block. So instead of all that, let's not check with the rook, but use our queen on the 7th rank. Kind of like they are doing here, although we get our attack in first. With queen captures on f7, delivering a check, forcing the king into the corner, and then we will deliver the mate on g7 here. So capture and mate. All right. Well, I hope you found that one, and let's move on. It looked like that was a 972 rated problem. Okay. What did we have here? Did they just capture a piece? Probably. I would imagine they captured a rook here. I should have paid closer attention in the beginning. All right, they're getting ready to capture our knight next with a check. So what can black do to end this game and mate white? So take a look at it. Hopefully you found the answer. Let's see here. I'm thinking queen. You don't want to go here or the king would escape. So we capture their rook and deliver a mate. So there you have it. The king cannot escape because his pawns are blocking any escape out this way. All right, that was a 1370 rated problem. Hopefully you found that. And on to the next one. The rooks have just doubled up here, threatening to capture this pawn with check. So what can we do? Well, take a look at this. See if you can solve it. What would you do? Remember to look for the checks first. All right. The only check possible is to capture with this rook. And hopefully that will give you the answer. So, capture with the rook. Our opponent will be forced to capture with their rook, but then our other rook can come in and deliver the mate, backed up by this bishop on d3. So, check and mate. So, it says that was a 512 rated puzzle. So, on to the next one. All right, problem number 15. Okay, rook has just moved here, attacking our queen. What can we do? What can we do here? All right. Well, take a look at this, see if you can solve it. Remember to look for the checks. I think I have it. If you're not ready, pause the video. All right, let's take a look. Now, we want to look at the different checks. We have a knight, a queen, and a rook, all lining up on the king, stuck in the center here. So, it looks like, do we capture with the rook here, delivering a check? And then if the knight captures, we deliver the mate. If the king tries to escape after our rook captures on e7, well then our queen can capture the rook and deliver mate. All right, here we go. Check and mate. A 981 rating for that puzzle. All right, on to the next one. Let's keep this moving. We have 5 more problems. Let's finish this up. So, bishop to h5. What did that accomplish? It cuts off some escape squares from black's king. But let's see how we can go after white's king. All right. Take a look. Hopefully you found the problem. Pause if you need more time. But I think I have this one. Once again, look for the checks. So, do we want to go there? Probably not. It lets the king escape, possibly. So, what about this other check to here? Queen to c1, cutting off this escape on d2. The knight cuts off an escape on e2 here, and the bishop will block, and then our queen can capture the bishop. So here we go. And a mate, a back rank mate. Interesting with the knight and the queen here. And they usually work good together. All right, on to problem number 17. What can we do here to go after this king? All right. Well, I think I have this. If you need more time, as always, pause the video. So once again, we're looking for checks. The only check we have is, using the queen. And there's more than one way to check. I mean, we could go here, the king could escape. We could go here, the king could escape. So it looks like we may have to go queen to f8, forcing the king forward. And then we can use a pawn here to attack and deliver a checkmate. All right, check, king moves forward, and then a mate with the pawn. So 1272 rating on that one. And remember, sometimes it's tricky when there are pawn checks available. So keep that in mind, because there could be a surprising resource found in a pawn check when it's unexpected. All right, on to the next problem. The rook has just moved forward here. And now, what do we have? Well, it looks like we could go here, checking the king. And then what? The king runs to here. We don't want to go here and capture, or the rook will capture us. So we will probably have to move up to after h7, then deliver a mate on h8, because the rook will cut off the escape square here on e7. All right, so that looks to be the winner. Check and mate here. All right, 630 rated. Hope you found that one. And on to the next problem. All right, the queen has just, landed on g8 here. What do we have? How can we deliver the mate? All right, well, hopefully you found this one. It looks like a mate in one. But we have to be careful how we try to do that. Of course, you don't want to bring your queen here. The knight or the bishop could capture you. But this square is unprotected. So mate, and with the help of this bishop. All right, on to the next problem. All right, we've completed 19, so this is the final problem. That problem was an 1173 rating. Okay, the king has just moved forward. We're looking to deliver a mate here. So how should we go about doing that? All right, well, let's look at all the checks. What checks do we have? All right, we have a knight check, but that could just be captured. Then what do we do? Probably, well, pause if you need more time, but I think I found the answer here. We check with the bishop. All right, and then the king is kind of limited on where he can go. The only place is here, and it looks like once again a pawn check will end up mating the king. All right, so check, and we deliver the mate with this pawn. So remember, pawn checks, pawn moves can be a hidden resource, and probably a way to surprise your opponent sometimes with an unexpected pawn move, and here it just happens to deliver a mate. All right, well, that was a 994 puzzle. We completed 20 puzzles, so I hope you did well in those. Remember to practice your tactics to improve your chess. That's probably one of the fastest ways to improve your chess, especially if you're a beginner or intermediate player. You can probably never study enough tactics, along with your other parts of chess, strategy, end games, and then the openings. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for watching, and have a super chess day.